I'm going to talk about X factor performance in regards to HRV. HRV is heart rate variability, and it's a way of determining the load for the client or the athlete on the day. And we separate it into green, which is good to go, can do any intensity that is in your training program for the day, or you can even up the intensity of the training program for the day. Next is amber. Just like a traffic signal, amber is preparing to stop, and it's also preparing to go. If it's amber, you want to have a moderate level of intensity. So that may mean for the program for the day, you increase the rest period or decrease the reps. Decrease the sets. And you may have less exercises in the program. So you may have to drop out a couple of exercise programs, but always keep your posture ones at the end. In red, I say this for dramatic effect, red is nearly dead. So if you're in the red, you really need complete rest. And complete rest is, well, number one is always sleep. So top athletes in the world, like LeBron James and Federer, they have up to 16 hours of sleep per 24-hour cycle. That's not that they sleep 16 hours in one go. They'll sleep their 8 to 10 hours in one go. They'll do a training session, they'll have some sleep, they'll do a training session, have some sleep. So sleep is the number one recovery if you're in the red. But what you can also do is meditation. I still consider meditation as a training session. Some breath work like Qigong or Tai Chi or yoga. Just keep the yoga away from the power yoga. It's just nice yoga or yin yoga where you hold prolonged stretch, or just a stretching session is good. You can even say a restoration session, maybe some artwork, listening to flute music or music that is soothing, preferably without lyrics, but beautiful music, not death metal. That would be something that would ramp up your stress levels. So what is heart rate variability? It determines physiological load. Physiological load is the whole stress that's accumulating on you, and that could be pollution, it could be noise, traffic, it could be training session, it could be nutrition, it could be dehydration, it could be hungover, it could be money problems, family problems, relationship problems, work problems, deadlines, all of the injuries, all of these things, they all accumulate into stress or physiological load, if we want to be technical about it. And the heart rate variability is the variance between beats of the heart. Now that sounds like, how do you measure that? Well, you measure it with a heart rate monitor, a special monitor, which you can get from several companies. I suggest you just look up HRV, heart rate variability. The more variance between each beat, the greater the stress on your body, the greater the physiological load. And therefore, less volume and intensity the athlete can handle to keep them progressing. So the less volume and intensity the athlete should be exposed to, and the longer the recovery needed. So that's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual recovery. So down through here, this is sort of a rough idea of a profile. So we have green, 1, 2, 3, and then we have an amber. So these 3 green sessions accumulated enough stress that put the body into an amber period. So then in the amber day, you have a moderate session, and you start to need also having a subjective relationship with the athlete, not just rely on the technical scores. So then we've got green, green, and then we must have gone really hard in this green, really high intensity, and there may be some other stresses going on. Maybe they didn't sleep very well the night before, or they got stressed about a competition, or something like that. So we've got a red, and then we may have had to take another recovery day with the amber, and then back up to green again. And so that's going to undulate all the way through your lifetime of training, or depending on what you're emphasizing. But that's life. It's going to go up and down all the time. So the blue line is our sort of overall score. So it's going to go up and down, but eventually carry on. So we have a look at this, we extrapolate that idea. We want performance more or less to go upwards in a linear direction. Now you can't just add training and harder training without having longer and longer rest periods or recovery sessions. And there's lots of different ways to do recovery, but we're just wanting to know the general idea. So if we think about, say, training volume or training intensity here, we have training volume, and then we have some rest period. Now that rest period in the dark blue, that may be sleep, it may be a day off, because it's in the recovery that we actually develop. So one of the first things you need to put into your training program is your recovery day and or your recovery strategies after each training session. That is determined by how many training sessions you do per week and or per day if you're an elite athlete. But the idea in the rest, you actually get better, so you can train more, you have a greater ability, greater capacity. But your capacity is determined by how much you rest as well. And it's going to be unique to everybody. That's why having your personalised HRV can help just tweak your training program for the day and for the week. And so on and so on. So that's the idea between the HRV, or varying your load according to the stress or the total physiological load on your body.